Hey, first of all, I love you. Second of all, I want to share with you something very, very, very simple but all encompassing. What I love about the wisdom of Kabbalah is that it's all encompassing. The way I see the world is that there are a lot of truths, a lot of, let's say, different fields of science, but imagine every single truth being in a building. And so every door or every room is one truth. So let's say you have, I don't know, biology. So it's one room, so you get a key to one room. But when you speak about Kabbalah, it's a master key. It's one key that can open up every single door. It will tell you the essence of biology, psychology, spirituality, everything. And most importantly, it does it in a way which is beneficial to you. To have wisdom without any purpose to it is purposeless. So this is one of the primary ideas of Kabbalah. And basically the world, everything really is incorporated in this. It's a massive subject. There are thousands, in a sense, thousands of books on it. We could speak indefinitely on it. But just to summarize it as best as possible in a couple of words, and in fact, many Nobel Prizes were won on a theory discovered by von Neumann, who's a genius. He discovered the computer and algorithms, and it's called game theory. And effectively, game theory says what Kabbalah says it doesn't. It only has two of the three pillars. But the first thing is, let's put it in simple words. Kabbalah teaches us that there are two types of souls. There's the ox and the sheep. The ox is somebody who gets nervous and angry. He needs to get his way. Now, you can think that that's a bad thing. There's a lot of benefit in oxes. In the olden days, the way they literally brought food to the world was through oxes, because oxes have a lot of power. And then the other personality type is sheep. He flows wherever, sepizura. It just flows. It goes here. The shepherd takes it here. It goes there. It doesn't have, of course, it has its desires and it has its lust, but it's not a powerful being. And these two personality types, even though they some of us are innately this way or innately that way, nevertheless, generally speaking, and this is sort of game theory, but using Kabbalah to go a lot deeper, what happens is that when things are good, let's say right now I'm living in Overland Park, Kansas, been rated the best city in America. So everyone's peaceful, there's money, there's space. So when things are good, people, as Rashi says very interestingly, he says when things are good, people see good in others. You look at the other guy, he's looking happy. The other day I went to visit a friend of mine. He lives in a nice neighborhood, and there's a park, and there's a guy playing music. It uplifts you. Everything looks good. So you go into a positive spirit. Now, it's not necessarily that everything is good, because then you have other countries where it's the exact opposite, where people are conniving each other and people literally killing each other, and everybody's ready to do anything for a buck, and there's rape, and so it's a terrible situation. So now they're the same people. Why are they like this in one country and that in another country? And this is a very important thing to understand. Everybody thinks that they're righteous, right? Even the people in the good countries certainly do. And so, but, I once met, I don't know if it was a Vietnam vet, it was a vet. And the guy had on his hat all these little buttons. So I made a conversation with him. So he told me his therapist said that he should wear this hat to get over his trauma. So I figured he was traumatized from things that he saw, So I tried to say something. Listen to what he said to me. He said, I'm not traumatized by what I saw. I'm traumatized by what I did. In other words, you take a nice American boy. Now, the Viet Congs, they were savages. I heard from a vet, they used to chop off people's heads, put them on posts. And what do you think our boys did? Meaning, it was war. They had to show them that this is what you do to us, we're going to do that. So suddenly, the same guy that's the sweetest guy in the world, the next day can become, because he's in defensive mode. Very important to understand this. When we become threatened, we have another instinct that comes out. And that instinct, of course, is a fight-flight mechanism. We don't want to fight, but sometimes you don't have a choice. And so therefore, once that savage comes out, it doesn't have a limitation on its savagery. And that's why you go to places like Africa, certainly the Arab world, they're literally savages. And they're cruel and sadistic and often take great pleasure in it because their sensitivity has been basically violated, and they're in a defensive mode. And there's literally a different part of our entire body changes, our brain changes whenever we're stressed. Our amygdala nuclei region, which is like primal reaction, survival reaction, takes over. We don't get blood flow to our prefrontal brain. You literally cannot think, because the thinking part of your brain switches off. Your blood flow goes to your muscles by your shoulders, by your thighs, so you can punch, you can run. Your digestive system, that's why you have what I call it, irritable bowel syndrome when people are stressed, because it takes away blood from the digestive system, because everything needs blood. For something to function, it needs blood. So if you put more blood in a certain area, that thing functions better. So you just go into kind of primal safety, run, fight, and the person's not thinking. And he cannot think until he feels safe. And so this is very, very important to understand, because all of us are susceptible to one of these two types. And the problem is that when things are good, we become like a sheep. We're wanderers, and we don't take enough initiative. And when things are bad, we think that we're being tough and everything, but actually what we're doing is we're fighting for survival. And that's not cool either. So there's a third way. And the third way is the truth. And the truth is that God is in control of the universe. Every single cell in your body is a miracle. Every division of every cell. And your body is changing. Every couple of weeks, most of your body has reconfigured itself. Cells every second. You have 1 million to 2 million cells that die and 1 million to 2 million cells that are born every second. So in this speech, you've had at least 100 to 200 million cells in your body been reborn from nothing. And so, in other words, God is in control of everything. The question in life is not what happens to me. The question in life is what I happen to do to others. The challenge of life is not taking anything personal, because that's where it all kind of messes up. I take it personal, so that's the sheep personality. I can't go against my society. That's where we have a lot of this, if you want to call it progressive, whatever that's supposed to mean. But basically, it's Obama's cult, where people, they're afraid of being shamed, and so they're just going into these kind of bizarre, contradictory opinions, just like the Germans did to Hitler. Why would they agree with somebody who was a madman? But people are afraid of shame. And then the society becomes a cult. It creates this dynamic and this understanding of reality, which has nothing to do with reality, but because they're afraid of being shamed and being outside of the group, everybody really believes that they believe this, and they therefore are capable of doing heinous things, bad things, because even though they themselves are good, because they want to be part of this group. And also they don't want to shame you bad people. People like Obama, certainly Hitler, they're only too happy. People that are murderers are happy to shame people as well. And therefore they create these dynamics, and the people that are in them are stuck there until something so traumatic happens that it shakes them out of the situation. So that's the sheep personality. On the flip side, you have the tough guy personality. And in fact, there's a lot of goodness in the tough guy, because tough people, sometimes they're your business owners, they're the people giving the most charity, because they're more with the program, they're more understanding of reality. So in a certain sense, as it's called, Tiferes, which is the time of the sphere that we're in, it's all about the balancing of emotions. On one hand, you have to flow. On one hand, you have to be calm. On the other hand, you have to be tough. But you have to know when to do which. And ultimately, the idea is that I am a soldier of God. I'm here for others, right? It's not about what happens to me, which to a large extent you can't control. And basically, the kind of panicked person is really not really in control. It's just he's panicking. And the person who's a sheep is really not a great person. He's just wandering. But the person who says, look, everything in life is a mission. And trust me, this was the teaching of the Baal Shem Tov, that the missions come to you. Somebody comes, they need help. You can't say that was random. The Baal Shem Tov's vision of the world, one of the greatest masters, nothing is random. Everything is exact. And so the question now is, am I selfish? Is the whole world about what's going to feel good for me this moment? Or am I selfless? Am I here for the whole world? I'm here to make a difference in the world. And the only one that can make that choice is you.